No one explains what intermittent fasting is, how you should do it, the pros and cons of it. So we're gonna do the whole rundown, who should use it, who shouldn't use it, and if it's the best diet for you and how you can use it as a tool and aid in your fat loss journey. I'm OB Health Fit and I've worked with thousands of clients achieve their fitness goals through sustainability, proper nutrition, micronutrients, macronutrients, and caloric adherence. What is fasting? Fasting or intermittent fasting is time-restricted eating. You have hours where you can eat, and then you have hours where you can't eat. A good example is 16 hours off, 8 hours on, meaning you don't eat for 16 hours and you allow yourself to eat for 8 hours. The more extreme is more 20 hours, 4 hours. Then you can get real extreme, kind of do the OMAD diet where you do 23 hours off, 1 hour on. You can choose to eat all your meals in the morning. You can choose to eat all your meals at night. It's really up to you. This could be a great tool in your fat loss journey or a maintenance phase, whatever really helps you adhere to that diet. Cons of the diet. It can build a really bad relationship with food. It's teaching you all food is bad and it depends the time of day where you eat. It doesn't really matter the food you're eating. It's just the time of day you're eating. That's what's making you fat. And that's what it's teaching you. And if you ever try to get off the diet, it doesn't teach you any proper habits. It doesn't teach you anything about food. It just tells you, hey, restrict food during these times. Now, as a result, it makes you more tired throughout the day. Some people actually say they're more alert, they're more focused. That's because you're in a fight or flight state, better known as survival mode. And that's because your cortisol is on an all-time high until you have that first meal. And this is gonna mess up your hormones like no other. It has been shown in studies your testosterone does not come back, male or female, until you have that first meal. So if you're intermittent fasting, your testosterone is just gonna be plummeting. If you're a male, if you're a female, your hormones are just out of whack. You're gonna feel horrible, very moody, lack of energy, and all these things. And they actually compared the two diets. They did intermittent fasting versus a continuous diet. Both groups lost the same amount of weight. The only difference is they adhered to the weight loss longer after the fact. If they just did a continuous deficit, they also lost more lean tissue mass in the intermittent fasting group rather than the continuous deficit. Meaning they lost more muscle while they did intermittent fasting. And there's multiple reasons for this. Let's just use basic logic. If you have no food in your system, you can't give as much output. So you can't lift as much in the gym, you can't walk as much, you can't run as much. You just don't have the energy because you don't have any food. You're not fueling your body. Think of a car, you're not putting gasoline in the car. So not only are you not training nearly as good, you're not training as well, you're not burning as many calories, you're not keeping that muscle mass stimulated. Male or female, doesn't matter. You're likely not getting enough protein in. This diet has no rules. It's just time-restricted eating. So in theory, you can eat whatever you want. The only rule, don't eat at those times. And you will probably lose weight if you do the more drastic things because it's really hard to overeat in those short period of times. You're kind of just concentrating it. You're probably not getting your essential micronutrients. You're not getting your essential macros. And you could, in theory, still be in a caloric surplus and gain weight or gain fat. And then depending the time you actually eat your food, this could affect your sleep quality in a very negative way. If you eat only in the morning, going to bed very hungry, people don't really like doing that. It can affect your sleep quality. It could not be as REM, deep sleep, or vice versa. If you eat too late and you have your last meal really close to bed, you're not gonna have that deep sleep because your body's still digesting that food. Again, you can work around this by just changing your meal times, but realistically, there's no rules. Like I was trying to mention earlier, you could really mess up your hormones because there's no rules in this diet, like I keep saying. So women especially, if you're not getting your omega fats or not paying attention to your omega fat ratio or just getting your essential fats in, male or female, you could lose your period, feel very moody, have horrible hormone fluctuations, mood swings, all these things. Men can go hypogonad, lose their testosterone. They can have really bad mental side effects for having that low testosterone. You could have some issues from down under, if you know what I mean, and so many things because you're just time restricted eating. You're teaching yourself, hey, food is bad. And if I eat during these times, I won't gain weight. That's all you are teaching yourself. And if you're doing fasting or you're doing full days where you don't eat for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, like a lot of people are, chiropractors, should say, are popularizing, it's not good for you. And you're not meant to do that. Also, like I said, bad relationship with food. This is actually very similar to binge eating, and this can induce binge eating habits, and it can increase food noise as a whole. What is food noise? You're thinking of food constantly, making you feel more hungry throughout the day, and you can't think of anything. You're not productive because you're just thinking of food, food, food. So all the cons out of the way, let's go in the pros. If you don't like tracking your calories, this diet's for you. You don't have to track your calories. You just only time restrict your food, and it's really hard to overeat. Like I said, if you don't eat for 20 hours of the day, boy, oh boy, are you not gonna overeat in those 4 hours. You're gonna feel really full. That's similar to the next pro. You feel extremely satiated. You feel like you got that good meal. And that's the thing that people crave when they're in a caloric deficit. You actually feel full. Sometimes you feel too full. And then the next pro, this sounds weird and I've done it before, so I can actually tell you anecdotally, the hunger level stays the same. So you're not feeling more and more starving the whole time through. it's kind of just like this uncomfortability throughout the whole day. And if you're able to just sustain it, it's really not that hard to go 20 hours without food, if I'm being fully honest, especially when you know you're gonna reward yourself at the end of the day or early in the day the next day if you went to bed early. There just stays the level of hunger. It doesn't fluctuate, so you don't know the difference. You know, if you have, oh, I'm not that hungry, then you feel slightly more hungry, and that slightly more hungry feels drastically different. It's not that effect. You feel just linearly the same. You're suffering the same. And then depending on the person, like I said before, you could get that mental clarity. It's not a good thing. It's coming from a high cortisol, but you do get that mental clarity. You don't think of food. So depending on the person, if you're really busy, you could just forget to eat, and that intermittent fasting is perfect for you. And you get more freedom. This diet is very conducive for people that like to eat out, eat with friends, eat with family, and they don't like the criticism that people get when they're eating out on a diet. So they don't really have to think about it. If you save all your calories for one meal, you can eat basically anything you want. It's really hard to overeat just eating out in one meal. So it's just mindless. You don't really have to think of it. And this is how I would actually use it with my clients and how I have used it with my clients and myself. This is a great tool if you're trying to lose fat. Genuinely, if you're trying to lose fat, if you're trying to just hit your fitness goals, do anything like that, a lot of my friends use intermittent fasting. It's great. I personally use this when I'm doing the essential diet. I'll make a whole video about the essential diet. You've seen me make a couple videos, but I'll do a massive deep dive similar to this video, but check it out. How to lose fat extremely fast. It's on my channel. But the essential diet, extremely low calories, and I use intermittent fasting. I don't have my first meal until noon. I have caffeine that blunts my appetite, not the healthiest habit, but I'm not that hungry in the morning. So it allows me to eat more food throughout the day, and I don't think of food later on in the day. Realistically, the more extreme you take this diet, doing those long day fasts where you literally do full days of fasting, things like that, that's where the more side effects come. So the more extreme you are on this diet. Because realistically, if you're not getting your essential micronutrients, essential macronutrients, and your calories in, if you do 1 hour of eating or 30 minutes of eating, you're not gonna get everything your body needs. You have to be so damn critical and track those food extremely accurate. I study micronutrients basically for a living. I mean, that's why most people hire me as a coach, because I have so much in-depth knowledge from micronutrients and how to improve your health through nutrition, reverse women losing their period through nutrition, men can increase their testosterone, so many different things. Makes you feel more full. Micronutrients are essential, and if you're not very critical, people don't even get that when they overeat on food. Imagine you have 1 hour to eat. You're not gonna get it all in. It's really damn hard. And if you're doing this diet, you're most likely not tracking your damn food. So you're not getting that protein in, you're not getting your essential fats in, you're probably overeating on carbs. So yes, you're losing weight, but you're not losing direct fat. And like I said earlier, if you do intermittent fasting rather than continuous deficit, you lose more muscle. And before I get the autophagy warriors and those intermittent fasting warriors, you get the same autophagy from a caloric deficit for intermittent fasting. The thing that has cell restoration and cleaning your cells up. So what I get from that is basically if you're losing fat, you're getting autophagy, your cell restoration, the thing your body loves. And I know I listed substantially more cons than pros on this diet. I just want to be very honest and try to have no bias here because I use it personally, but this is all the cons and I don't prescribe it to a lot of my clients. Some of my clients do use it. Like I said earlier, there's no such thing as a perfect diet for anyone. So if this aids in your fat loss journey, all power to you. Seriously. I have no bias as a coach. If you want to use intermittent fasting, do it. Because the hard truth is holding a ridiculous amount of excess fat is substantially worse for you than any of these side effects I have listed in this video. So if it helps you adhere to a deficit, we're not perfect. Use it. By golly, get that six pack. Get those toned abs that you want, girls or men. Get what you want. Because I promise the body you're in currently has substantial more side effects than using intermittent fasting or fasting. These are just the side effects that you have to be aware of while you're doing this diet. It's not this magical thing. All it is doing is putting you in a caloric deficit by time restriction. So if you don't like tracking, you can try this. But realistically, to be healthy and overall, I would track and use intermittent fasting because that's gonna be the pros of both worlds.